roll.
Dave Line.
Here.
Soldner.
Here.
Bagwell. Garza.
Here.
Pyrus de Carvalho.
Here. Next item, please.
Item 2A, consider sale of property at 18 East Avenue B.
Mayor, Council, I'll give just a little bit of a report, kind of introducing this topic, and just a little background kind of on the efforts that we've looked at over the past year in selling the fire station at Avenue B in Walnut. The fire department actually worked out of that building back until I think it was about October of 2016 when we vacated the building. Since then, we've been using it for storage, and all that inventory is out of there now, so it's completely empty. And so back in September of 2019, the council gave approval for us to solicit bids for the sale of the station. And so we went through that process. We began that in early October with a bid due date. I think it was November the 22nd. We had a lot of people look at the building, a lot of interest, but nobody submitted a bid. The building, there's a lot to that building. I think people, when they realize it and when they get inside of it. So in late December, I happened to get was contacted by a Hutchinson native, Logan Lawson, who's here today, and he'll be able to talk with you in a little bit. And he had requested permission to tour the building, and he did that on several occasions for long periods of time. And so over that week between Christmas and New Year's, we had a couple different meetings, and he shared with me his interest in the building for a project that's pretty exciting for him. Coming out of college, and the plan is for Logan to house Sensor Dynamics in the building. And I'm not going to try to tell you exactly what that company does, but Logan will be able to do that. But essentially, somewhat of a startup engineering software company, and I'm really, excited about the opportunity. We've had a lot of interest, as I said, in that building, but there's a lot to that building. And, I don't know where this journey is going to take us, but it just seems like a good opportunity. And so the contract before you is to sell the building. And in the contract, we're proposing that the city sell the building is proposing a contract for a nominal fee, really because it's related to economic development of $500. And we do have a reversionary clause in there, an option to buy back within the next 3 years if Sensor Dynamics should cease operations or they would look to sell this building to someone else. We would have the option to buy this building back for, I think it was $100. Yeah. So so that gives the city a little protection, going forward. We really, that building's a challenge for a lot of people, and so I'm really excited about this. The closing date on this transaction is set for June 1, and Logan will talk a little bit about when he plans to be back in Hutch. And so with that, I'd be happy to address any questions that the staff might have. Logan, just got to say, he's been so so professional throughout this whole process, and really hope the best for him, and really excited about what his venture could bring to Hutchinson. So with that, I'll stand for questions of myself or Logan.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing about your company.
Yeah.
You want to come to the podium and state your name and address and kind of what you're interested in doing with the building?
Yes.
So, oh man. I'm speaking to you today to interest in basing my company in your downtown section. I'm mostly specifically fire station number 1. I believe my plan for the building will be desirable to interest you because it'll bring significant value to the downtown section. I'm Logan Lawson. I'm from Hutchinson. I'm a Buehler High School alum who pursued higher education at Cal Poly SLO. I'm majoring in software engineering with a minor in entrepreneurship. My 3rd year at Cal Poly, I was accepted into an advanced program called the Hatchery, who is utilized to foster and create startups. I also interned in the Daimler Autonomous Trucking Division. Through these two opportunities, I was able to bring together some ideas, and Sensor Dynamics is what came from it. Sensor Dynamics creates prototypical hardware solutions for industrial problems. I design, build, and code software and sensor platforms that will be implemented in numerous industrial applications. These sensor platforms and solutions are striving to increase productivity and lower costs. And in many cases, this productivity and cost savings are so substantial that we'll be able to implement a subscription model to monetize these solutions. This is pretty much the business model that we'll be utilizing Fire Station number 1. I presently have 4 team members involved who are specialized in these fields. We are currently working on subscription-based projects in industrial and automotive applications. These are under contract and should be able to monetize within late 2020. Although the development of the software is highly specialized, there are many aspects that can be achieved without an advanced degree. These employment opportunities would be offered to trainable candidates locally. These opportunities would include sensor assembly technicians and customer service representatives. I always wished to return home to start my company after I achieved my advanced degree. And to this end, I would like to personally thank John Deerdoff, Paul Brown, and Jim Seitnader for always helping me and seeing my vision. And as they brought me here to speak before you, and from there, I would like to open it up to questions from the City Council.
Great. Well, you know, we hear a lot about the brain drain, where our best and brightest go off to get educated and never come back. So I, for one, am excited to see the opposite of that happening here. And really commend you, John, for all the work you've put into this, and would like to know if council has specific questions about the business or the building.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
These control circuits, these that you on the computer, are they like controls that work water wells, soda vents, sirens, and stuff like that? You build them for that
They're
kind of applicant?
not quite controls, more of sensor platforms. So you'll be able to monitor certain analog or hydropneumatic solution or hydropneumatic problems. Pretty much, we're striving to reduce the amount of time that you have to pay for an attendant to physically have eye contact onto certain things like gauges, things that you like. We're striving to simplify home businesses and family-owned companies that are stretched thin, that they're not really lowering wages for employees. They're more of reducing the amount of time that they have to be on site. So.
Yeah, so I understand. I deal with that stuff. So yeah, great. I'm glad it's coming to Hutchinson.
Would you
Logan,
do?
just
oh.
curious about, as you get into your operations and so on, will you establish distributorships, or exactly how does that all come
Yes.
together
We will. We are
in terms of your
currently-
sales force and so on?
Yes, we are striving. We're right now. It's very in the plan stages. We have a few contracts underlined, but we are thinking that eventually we'll probably get a sales force, and also have we're going to be manufacturing out of the building.
Out of the building,
and then,
okay.
We'll be most likely shipping or palletizing to wherever the distribution centers that need to be, that are going to be our middleman for selling, on top of us selling products. For certain industrial applications, there are distribution networks that will be utilized for pushing the material or pushing the product.
Okay.
So when you talk about the sensor assembly opportunities that could come, that would be in the future, and that wouldn't necessarily be done in that particular building? Or-
Yes, it would be.
It
done.
would be.
It's-
So the software engineering and the assembly
Yes.
would be done
Yep.
in the building.
That's the plan.
Okay.
It's a big enough building, 23,000 square feet.
John, maybe this is a question more appropriate for you. Can you talk a little bit about the different uses?
Yeah, we've
and how-
met and talked with planning. We've got the zoning. In fact, if you remember, we had a zoning application
Yeah.
that we've already processed through the planning department, and we kind of held that because nobody vested any interest, and we're gonna pick that back up, which will be coming before the council to rezone that to I think it was C5, which would allow the type of activities that we're talking about here. We've also had multiple conversations about the code, the building side of things, and from an operational standpoint, he would be able to move in without any real requirements to speak of. So I think we're in pretty good shape there.
It's great to hear that the city's been so accommodating and flexible in making this work. So he's not going to move in and see a lot of regulations or changes
We were
necessary.
very concerned about that and spent a lot of time to address that, specifically what, activities were going to occur there. I mean, there's opportunities for, living space up above, those kind of things. But that's all, kind of down the road. But I think our zoning change, and I think Ryan even talks about there's one administrative amendment that he'll make as well that will accommodate all of this.
fantastic.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll close in June,
Yes.
and you'll start creating the software this summer, or have you already started that?
Already started.
Okay.
Currently, I have a team of 4 that I'm working with at Cal Poly. That we have prototyped several solutions, and we also have most of the software developed. But as software is very iterative, so we're constantly constantly iterating through different through cycles and developing it further. But we are close to having an end-to-end prototype that we'll be able to monetize in the next 8 months, 9 months.
Wow,
So-
that's amazing.
Well, in this age of technology and startup operations, do you necessarily have trademarks, or how does that typically
Well,
look?
So, of course, there's going to be trademarks or copyrights on the branding, and then further from there, there is not much you can do on the actual software end besides the fact that it's private. And so, since it's not public, you don't have to worry. The only time that that is ever compromised is if someone from the inside or if anyone tried to do malicious intent. But besides that, the product themselves, it's not the hardware that is specialized. It's the combination of the hardware and the software
And the
together
software.
that is proprietary. And so from there, if someone were to buy the product, they wouldn't be able to copy it because it's the homogeneous combination of everything that makes it.
Yeah, sure.
So you, so you do have a patent on the combination?
We are working, and we have the preliminary patent proceedings. We're working with the hatchery, the program that I'm in at Cal Poly. It's pretty much made up of retired entrepreneurs from Silicon Valley. And so we work with, there's patent lawyers that are on site. There are pretty much people that just have too much money, and now they want to try to give back to the community. And so
Good problem to have.
they are kind of directing me, and I'm working with a patent lawyer that's on site to culminate a plan for that.
I got one question for you. I know this is going to be a hard question. To me, it would if I was in your place right there. What do you see when you're up and running in a year or two? How many employees will you have? And at the max, in your vision that you have, how many employees would you see at the max of your?
So software development will probably always be between 2 to 4.
Mhm.
That's including me. And then from there, the manpower is really in the assembly and the manufacturing, which, I mean, these are small hardware devices,
Sure.
so it doesn't require a lot of equipment,
Right.
but it's more of the tedious effort of putting it together. And we're, as of right now, we probably could get by 1 or 2, but once the numbers increase and we're having to push out several numerous amount of sensors a day,
Mhm.
I could see 4 people manufacturing, and then also we need customer service representatives
Mhm.
that probably need 1 or 2 people on phones, and at least if we get to a point where we need a sales force traveling, at least 1 to 2. So
Yeah,
Great.
good.
Thank you.
It's like a great small business. We've been really working to cultivate an atmosphere of entrepreneurship in this community, and you're helping that without even knowing.
That's right.
Well, are there further questions or a motion on this item?
I would move to approve the sale of property at 18 East Avenue B to Sensor Dynamics LLC and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents.
I'll second.
Further discussion, comments from the audience? Okay, hearing none, please call the roll.
Dave Line?
Yes?
Soldner?
Yes.
Bagwell?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Tyrus de Carvalho?
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes,
You bet.
congratulations. Looking forward to
Safe travels.
seeing what you do.
Okay, what are we looking at as far as timing? Do you think 11 o'clock will be sufficient, or should we go for 12 on the executive session?
I don't know.
Let's do 11.
Let's
11?
try. Yeah.
Is there a motion to recess into executive session until 11?
Motion to recess until executive session till 11.
I second it.
Please call the roll.
Dave
Yes.
Soldner.
Yes.
Bagwell.
Yes.
Garza.
Yes.
Tyros de Carvalho.
Yes. Let's take a few minutes.
Okay.
Can you say the purpose?